So you're sitting at your desk, right?
Yeah.
And you have a new offer launching. Or maybe, you just need to get a standard newsletter out to your list.
Right, something routine.
Exactly. So you open up your AI platform of choice, whichever one you use, and you type in what you think is a pretty solid prompt, and you hit generate.
You wait those like 3 seconds.
Yeah, 3 seconds later, boom, you get the output. You look at it, and well, I mean, it's grammatically flawless.
Oh, always perfectly spelled.
Right. The structure is perfectly balanced. There's a tidy little call to action right at the end. But
But then you actually read it.
then you read the words out loud, and you get this sinking feeling because it sounds completely hollow.
Yeah, absolutely.
It reads exactly like it was written by, like a helpful airport kiosk.
Oh, man, a helpful airport kiosk. That's the perfect diagnostic image for this.
It really is just this, frictionless, painfully polite, robotic voice.
Right, a voice that is just so desperate to assist you but has absolutely zero soul, no perspective.
Exactly. And that right there, that phenomenon, is the absolute core of what we are unpacking today for this deep dive.
Yeah, because we are looking at a system specifically engineered to stop that exact flattening of your voice.
Right. The mission for our time today is to stop letting AI, sand down your unique edges.
And we should probably be really clear about who we're speaking to right now.
Yes, definitely. This is specifically for the AI University and AI Prompt Lab members out there.
The creators, the founders.
Your service providers, the operators. Basically, if you are integrating these models into your workflows for content, for your offers, or, brand communication.
You just feel like your brand identity is eroding every single time you generate a draft.
Yeah, if that's you, this session is for you. Because, we are not talking about basic prompt engineering today.
No, not at all.
We are talking about building a persistent, reusable voice architecture.
Which is so much bigger.
Oh.
And to build that architecture, we first have to kind of understand the mechanics of why this flattening happens in the first place.
Right. Like, why does it always sound like that kiosk?
Well, the immediate assumption people make when they read that draft is, that the tool itself is broken.
Oh, for sure. This AI just doesn't get it.
Right. They assume the model isn't advanced enough, or maybe that it simply doesn't understand their specific industry.
I hear that all the time.
But the reality is the tool is doing exactly what it was designed to do.
Yeah.
An AI, specifically a large language model, is fundamentally just a prediction engine.
Right. It's all math.
Exactly. Its entire architecture is literally designed to predict the next most mathematically probable word based on its massive training data.
Which means, if you think about it, if you don't give it extremely tight constraints, it just defaults to the mathematical average of human language.
Exactly. It actively seeks the center of the bell curve.
Because it's safe.
Right. When an LLM lacks a structured system that dictates exactly how it should speak, it just falls back on the path of least statistical resistance.
Yeah.
It fills in the gaps with what the source material for today brilliantly terms generic internet paste.
Generic internet paste. I love that phrase so much.
It's so visceral.
It perfectly captures the texture of it, right? It's that, homogenized blend of every B2B LinkedIn post, every corporate brochure, every marketing email that was ever scraped from the internet.
Just mashed together into a tasteless gray sludge.
Yeah, and it serves up that sludge because, like you said, it is statistically safe.
Right. The model is penalized during its training phase for being confusing or, unhelpful.
So it learns that being boring is better than being wrong.
Exactly. It learns that highly sanitized, middle-of-the-road corporate speak is the absolute safest way to fulfill a request without causing an error.
So the roadmap for our deep dive today is to move completely away from those vague, hopeful requests we all make when we're prompting for voice.
Yes, and instead, walk through the actual mechanics of building a reusable voice control system.
A system that basically guarantees your brand consistency survives contact with the model.
Across every single platform, yeah.
So let's start with the most common trap. Because, I think everyone listening has fallen into this specific failure pattern at least once.
Oh, absolutely.
The source material calls it the trap of make it sound like me.
It is the default human reaction.
You get the generic internet paste draft, you hate it, and your immediate response is to just throw a subjective adjective at the model to try and fix it.
Right, you just type into the prompt box, make this sound more like me.
Or make this more premium.
Oh, or the absolute worst offender, make this less AI.
Oh, man. Asking a machine to be less AI is just objectively hilarious to me.
It really is.
You are basically asking a mathematical equation to guess your specific personal definition of what human sounds like.
Yeah,
It feels equivalent to like walking into a new hairstylist salon, sitting in the chair saying, "Make me look good," and then just closing your eyes and hoping for the best.
which is terrifying because good is a completely meaningless directive without parameters.
So,
I mean, to one stylist, good implies a highly conservative traditional corporate cut.
right.
But to a stylist in like a trendy downtown salon, good might mean shaving the sides and adding neon green dye.
Yeah, you provided an adjective, but you provided absolutely zero system constraints.
Exactly. And large language models process adjectives in the exact same way. When you tell a model to make your copy premium, you are forcing it to search its high-dimensional vector space for the entire concept of premium.
And what does premium actually map to in the model's training data, like realistically?
Well, that's the whole problem. It maps to millions of conflicting examples.
Right.
I mean, does premium mean minimalist, editorial, high-fashion brevity?
Like a luxury watch ad.
Exactly. Or does premium mean using a high density of $50 words and sounding like a peer-reviewed academic paper?
The model has to guess which cluster of premium you actually want.
Right. So I tell the AI, make this friendly and confident. I might be thinking of a calm, useful mentor figure.
A guide.
Yeah. But the AI might output the text equivalent of someone aggressively yelling at me in a webinar funnel.
Like, listen to me right now, your life is about to change.
Yes. That is technically confident and friendly, but it is completely wrong for my actual brand.
Because adjectives are inherently subjective, they just lack boundary constraints.
Exactly. The model tries to accommodate your request by blending different interpretations of friendly, and usually it just drifts right back into that overpolished generic copy.
Because that's the safest bet again.
Exactly. It attempts to be a little bit of everything,
Right.
which, results in it being nothing at all.
Okay, so if subjective adjectives are mechanically useless for controlling an LLM, what is the actual foundation of a functional voice system?
Right. Where do we start?
Yeah, if I can't just type "be friendly and smart," what is the very first architectural layer we need to build here?
Well, you start by assigning the voice a specific job.
Okay.
The source material introduces this as the voice job statement. And this requires a pretty significant perspective shift for most operators.
How so?
Because voice is not just an aesthetic choice. It's not just about the vibe of your sentences.
Right.
Voice is a functional strategic tool designed to accomplish a specific business outcome.
Okay, I'm looking at this concept of a voice job statement, and I want to push on it a little bit.
Sure.
Is this not just a rebranded company mission statement? I mean, if I'm writing an email sequence to sell, say, a mid-tier SaaS product, and I say my voice needs to be professional, how does writing a voice job statement actually change my prompt engineering?
That's a great question. But see, a mission statement is about what the company does.
Okay.
A voice job statement is an operational constraint for the language model.
Ah,
It forces you to answer the secondary conditional questions. If you claim your voice is professional, the voice job statement demands you define. Professional for what specific purpose?
Right. Professional for who?
Exactly. Professional for what exact audience? You have to define the mechanical job of the words themselves.
Give me an example of that.
Well, is the job of the text to build trust with deeply skeptical, highly technical enterprise buyers? Or is the job to simplify a complex software deployment for non-technical beginners?
Oh, wow. I see the distinction there. Professional isn't the job at all.
No, it's just an adjective.
Right. The job is translating complex deployment schedules into actionable steps for non-technical managers.
Exactly. And the tone just acts as the vehicle to accomplish that specific job.
That makes so much sense.
The source material actually provides a very rigid framework for constructing this statement. You must articulate 4 distinct things.
Okay, what are they?
First, what does this voice need to help the business do? Second, what should the audience feel when reading it?
Okay.
Third, what should they clearly understand? And crucially, the fourth thing, what must the voice explicitly avoid?
So when you combine all those constraints, you aren't just giving the AI a mood board anymore.
Exactly. You are giving it a measurable North Star.
Okay, so we established this voice job statement to define the goal. But how do we translate that conceptual goal into a structure the AI can actually use for drafting?
Right. How do we make it promptable?
Yeah.
We build what the text calls the brand voice stack.
The brand voice stack.
Yes. This is the translation layer. It takes that high-level voice job statement and deconstructs it into highly structured, layered rules that an LLM can actually process.
Okay, let's break down the layers of the stack, because honestly, this goes significantly deeper than most people ever go with their prompts.
Oh, way deeper.
What are the specific variables we are locking down here?
The stack requires you to explicitly define several things: positioning, audience, role, tone, pace, boundaries, proof style, and CTA style.
Okay, I'm looking at the stack, and positioning seems kind of completely redundant to me if I've already defined my role.
How so?
Well, why do I need to prompt for both? If my role is a consultant, isn't that just my positioning?
It seems like it, but they actually act as two totally different parameters for the model.
R-
Yeah, positioning is your relationship to the broader market.
Okay,
Like, are you the premium high-ticket option, or are you the accessible high-volume disruptor?
got it.
But role is your relational dynamic to the specific reader in that exact moment.
Ah,
You
okay.
could be a high-ticket premium consultant in the market. That's your positioning.
Right.
But your role when writing an email to your client might be a peer-level strategist rather than a lecturing academic.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Right. If the AI only knows you are a premium consultant, it might accidentally write down to the reader. It might sound condescending.
But adding the role constraint of peer forces the AI to maintain the premium vocabulary, but it adjusts the relational syntax to be side by side rather than top down.
Exactly. It's a matrix of constraints.
That makes perfect sense. Now, another layer that stands out here is pace.
Yes, pace is huge.
How do you even prompt an LLM for pace?
Well, pace controls the physical movement and the rhythm of the text. Left to its own devices, an LLM will almost always output perfectly uniform, medium-length sentences.
Yes, always.
It absolutely loves a 15 to 20-word sentence with a prepositional phrase right in the middle.
It creates this like monotonous drone-like rhythm that just puts you to sleep.
Exactly. So to control pace, you have to give the model structural commands.
Like what?
You might prompt it like, pace, use high variance in sentence length. Follow complex, explanatory sentences with a single, punchy 3-word sentence. Use frequent paragraph breaks to create white space.
Oh, so you are giving it a literal syntactic blueprint.
Yes, you're telling it how to build the paragraphs.
But the layer in this stack that I think is the most critical, especially for prompt lab members who are dealing with AI hallucinations, is proof style.
Oh, proof style is a game changer.
Because defining your proof style is basically the ultimate defense mechanism against the model fabricating information, right?
Absolutely. It gives the AI a rigid operating system for exactly how it is allowed to substantiate its claims.
Okay, walk me through a before and after of how proof style works mechanically in a prompt.
Sure. Let's suppose you ask the AI to write a LinkedIn post about remote work burnout.
Very common topic.
Very common. If you have no proof style defined, the AI searches its vector space for burnout statistics.
Right.
And it might hallucinate something that sounds super plausible, like a recent Stanford study shows 78% of remote workers experience 3 p.m. fatigue.
Which doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It assumes you want academic authority, so it just fabricates an academic citation out of thin air.
It's trying to be helpful by inventing a study that mathematically aligns with your topic.
Exactly. But if your brand voice stack explicitly defines your proof style,
Okay, what would that look like?
you might write, proof. We rely solely on lived experience, specific client observations, and anonymized case studies. We never cite broad academic statistics, third-party studies, or percentage-based metrics unless explicitly provided in a prompt.
Wow, that completely shuts down the hallucination engine.
Yes.
You are telling the model how it is allowed to know things.
It creates a strict epistemological boundary. With that rule in place, the AI won't even try to invent a Stanford study.
Right.
Instead, it will frame the point through your approved lens. It will generate something like, in the last 5 workflow audits we conducted for mid-size agencies, we noticed a consistent drop in output around 3 p.m.
It uses narrative proof instead of statistical proof.
Exactly. It stops the AI from pretending to be a researcher when your actual brand authority is as a practitioner.
That is so powerful. Okay, so we've established this incredibly rigid architectural blueprint with the voice job statement and the brand voice stack.
The blueprint is set.
But a blueprint isn't a house.
No, it's not.
If I just hand the AI these structural rules, it still doesn't know my actual vocabulary. I mean, it knows how to pace the text, but it doesn't know the exact words I use to fill that pace.
Which brings us to the raw material.
Right.
We have to feed the system. And this is where we need to discuss why Capturing real voice samples is vastly superior to defining your brand with just a list of adjectives.
Okay, let's be real about this stuff, though.
Yeah?
Because gathering all these voice notes and transcripts to build a language profile sounds incredibly tedious.
It can feel that way, yes.
The instinct for most founders, myself included, is to just go to the company blog, copy the most polished, heavily edited thought leadership piece, and tell the AI, hey, just sound like this.
Right.
Is the ROI actually there to dig through all these raw materials, or is this just something for perfectionists?
Using your polished blog post is probably the single most common mistake made at this stage, and it fundamentally breaks the entire system.
Really? Why?
You have to think about how language models tokenize text.
Okay.
When you write a rough draft, it is full of your specific lexical quirks. You use weird metaphors, you repeat certain transition words, you structure sentences based on how you breathe when you speak.
Yeah, my rough drafts are a mess.
But they are your mess.
Right.
When that post goes to an editor or goes through Grammarly, all of those idiosyncratic signals are scrubbed out completely.
Right, the text is normalized.
Exactly. The editor essentially applies a layer of generic internet paste over your raw thoughts to make them professional.
Oh, wow.
So if you feed that polished post to the AI as a sample, the AI analyzes the tokens and thinks, okay, this person writes in highly sanitized standard corporate syntax.
So you are training the AI on the processed end product.
Yes, which means the AI will only ever produce more processed end products.
It becomes a feedback loop of boring copy.
Exactly. We need to break the LLM's default rhythm, and to do that, we absolutely need raw voice signals.
So what qualifies as a high-value raw voice signal?
We're looking for the messy stuff.
The messy stuff.
Yeah. Like a 5-minute audio rant you recorded on your phone about a problem in your industry.
Okay.
Or an unfiltered voice note you sent to your lead developer.
Right.
Or a rough, bulleted list of raw thoughts you jotted down immediately after a really contentious client call.
Really? That unpolished.
Even the raw Zoom transcript of a consulting session, complete with all the, half-finished sentences and conversational pivots.
Oh, I see. Because in those formats, my guard is totally down.
Exactly.
The AI can analyze the actual rhythm of how I explain complex concepts when I'm genuinely passionate, rather than how I perform when I know I'm writing a public article.
Precisely. Once you gather these messy, authentic samples, you use them to construct what the source material calls the language bank.
The language bank. So we are essentially building a custom weighted dictionary that overrides the LLM's default vocabulary probabilities.
Mechanically, that is exactly what you are doing. The language bank extracts the specific phrases that make you sound human, and it explicitly blacklists the phrases that make you sound like an algorithm.
The text actually breaks this bank down into very practical categories.
It does.
Let's see, we've got signature phrases, preferred words, words to avoid, teaching phrases, CTA phrases, and boundary phrases.
Yes.
Let's look at signature phrases versus words to avoid.
The module provides some excellent concrete examples here. For signature phrases, it lists really grounded operational phrases like build the system, diagnose before rewriting, or protect the workflow.
Which sound like things a real human operator would say.
Exactly.
And contrast that with the words to avoid section. The text explicitly blacklists words like unlock your potential, elevate your journey, revolutionize, seamless solutions, and delve.
Oh, delve. The AI loves delve.
It really does. But we have to understand why the AI is so obsessed with a phrase like seamless solutions.
Right. It's not doing it to annoy you.
No. To a language model, seamless solutions represents a highly probable, statistically safe token sequence to describe, improvement or fixing a problem.
Right. It has seen that exact from millions of times in its B2B training data.
So if you do not explicitly build a negative constraint like a blacklist, the model's mathematical gravity will just pull it right back to seamless solutions every single time.
The AI isn't trying to sound like a robot. It genuinely calculates that providing a seamless solution to unlock your limitless potential is the most premium professional way to express that concept.
Which is horrifying.
It is. And the language bank replaces that generic probability with your specific vocabulary.
Okay.
If your language bank includes a rule that says teaching phrases, when introducing a new concept, do not use corporate framing. Use phrases like the real problem is, or here is why this actually matters.
Wow, that alters the entire architecture of the output.
Completely. The
Yeah.
AI stops acting like a corporate brochure and starts mimicking the syntax of an actual human explaining a concept.
The boundary phrases category is really fascinating to me, too.
Oh, those are crucial.
The text gives examples like, do not publish this yet, or let's keep the scope smaller. These aren't just words, they convey the actual operational temperament of the brand.
Yes, exactly.
It shows the AI how you establish limits in reality.
Giving the AI a list of adjectives is an example of weak control. But giving the AI a literal tokenized bank of phrases to force insert and phrases to absolutely reject that is strong control.
Okay, so we've mapped the vocabulary.
We have.
But having a dictionary doesn't mean the AI won't still drift structurally, right?
Unfortunately, no.
Which brings us to the next critical piece of the framework, establishing explicit guardrails. We need to look at the do and don't voice guide.
So why do you think a do and don't guide is even necessary if we already have the brand stack and the language bank?
Well, because AI models are notoriously bad at implicit boundaries.
Very true.
I mean, if I tell the AI what success looks like, it might still try to combine my success criteria with its own weird habits.
Right. It tries to blend them.
It's like putting rumble strips on the highway. I don't just need to know where the center of the lane is. I need the model to vibrate violently when it starts drifting over the line.
That is a perfect analogy. Mechanically, large language models respond exceptionally well to contrast pairs.
Contrast pairs.
Yes. It is often much faster to steer the probability distribution by showing the model exactly what failure looks like.
Interesting.
A guide that only issues positive commands leaves way too much interpretive space. A do and don't guide uses negative prompting to explicitly collapse the probability of those failure patterns.
Let me pull an example directly from the module text to show the Prompt Lab audience exactly what the syntax looked like.
Please do.
It says, do, explain the workflow in plain language using short, direct sentences. Don't. Use vague empowerment language or metaphorical fluff like unlock your limitless potential.
That contrast pair right there is the engine of the guardrail.
Yeah.
Because if you only provide the positive instruction, explain the workflow in plain language, the AI might successfully write the plain language explanation.
Right.
But then it decides to wrap it up with a flowery, empowering conclusion anyway, because its training data suggests conclusions should be inspiring.
Ugh. Yes. It always adds that weird summary paragraph.
Always. But the explicit don't rule shuts down that specific predictable failure pattern.
It stops the AI from making wild, unprompted assumptions about how to be helpful.
Exactly.
You actually mentioned earlier that when AI tries too hard to be helpful, it often results in what the source material calls a haunted FAQ page.
Oh, yes. The haunted FAQ phenomenon.
Describe that because it's so funny.
It's when the model tries to anticipate like 50 different edge case problems the reader doesn't even have yet.
Right.
And the writing devolves into an anxious, exhaustive list of caveats and warnings.
Make sure you do this, but if you don't do this, try this other thing.
Exactly. To prevent this, you would write a contract pair like, do, provide one clear, practical next action for the majority use case. Don't. Overcomplicate the next step, or attempt to anticipate and solve unlikely, highly specific edge cases.
Oh, that's so clean. So you construct these contrast pairs across all the major categories: tone, sentence rhythm, warmth, authority, jargon usage.
Yes.
You are basically building a customized electrified fence around your brand voice.
You really are.
Yeah.
But here is the critical operational challenge.
Okay, what is it?
You have the voice job statement, you have the brand stack, the language bank, and the do-don't guide.
Right, lots of assets.
You have generated pages and pages of structural logic. But if you have to manually assemble and type all of that out every single time you want to draft a simple newsletter,
The friction is way too high.
exactly, you will abandon the entire system in a week and go right back to generic prompting.
Which is why the source material introduces the concept of the AI voice prompt snippet.
Yes, this is the actual execution layer.
But before we explain what the snippet is, we have to address the massive mistake people make when they try to operationalize a brand guide.
Oh, the mistake of the context window overload.
Exactly. I've seen this 100 times. A founder will take their beautiful 15-page brand strategy PDF, complete with their company history, their core values, their target demographic personas, their mission statement,
All the deep lore.
all the lore, and they will literally copy and paste all 15 pages into the ChatGPT window, and at the very bottom they will type, write a 50-word tweet about my new podcast.
And the model just completely loses the plot.
Yeah. The source material describes this as the AI forgetting what the task was and starting to wander through the wallpaper.
I love that phrasing.
I need you to explain the mechanics of wandering through the wallpaper, though, because it speaks to how the attention mechanism inside an LLM actually functions when it's overloaded like that.
Right. So inside a transformer model, the attention mechanism is what decides which words in your prompt are the most important.
Okay.
It assigns mathematical weight to different tokens. If you give it a 15-page brand history document, you are flooding the context window with thousands of tokens related to your company's founding in 2014, your overarching philosophy on customer service, your deep commitment to sustainability.
All this heavy abstract stuff.
Exactly. By the time the attention mechanism reaches the very bottom of the prompt where you ask for a simple 50-word tweet, it is mathematically overwhelmed by the brand history.
So it tries to honor all of that heavy context in the output.
Exactly. It attempts to compress 15 pages of deep philosophy into a single 50-word tweet.
Which is impossible.
Completely. The result is this bizarre, overly dramatic, philosophical copy that sounds like a manifesto rather than a quick social update.
Right.
You gave it too much context, so it wandered off into the wallpaper of your brand history instead of executing the actual task.
Okay, so the AI voice prompt snippet is the antidote to context window overload.
It is.
The audience needs to know exactly what this looks like. It is a highly compressed, copy-ready block of text that synthesizes all the rules we just built into a format the model can process without distraction.
It acts as the concentrated espresso shot of your brand voice.
I like that.
It distills the role, the audience, the tone traits, the rhythm, language rules, boundaries, improved style into just a few dense paragraphs.
Let's show the code here. How should Prompt Lab members actually format this snippet in their interface? Do we just paste it as plain text?
No, you should use Markdown formatting. It really helps the LLM parse the rules hierarchically.
Okay, like using brackets and stuff.
Exactly. You use clear headers, bullet points, bold text. You can inject this snippet into the system instructions if you were building a custom GPT, or you can paste it directly into the user chat window right above your specific task request.
Okay, so it looks something like this. System voice guidelines in brackets.
Yes.
Role, you are a peer-level technical strategist. Next line, pace. Short, varied sentence lengths. Maximum 2 sentences per paragraph.
Perfect.
Proof. Cite anonymized client case studies, do not use external statistics. And then, vocabulary constraints. Never use the words unlock, seamless, delve, or elevate.
Exactly. You build that modular block, and then you just paste it above your request. Task. Write a 200-word intro for the weekly newsletter.
Wow.
The AI has the exact constraints, but the token count is low enough that it stays fiercely focused on the task.
That is the exact execution model. It is compact enough not to distract the attention mechanism, but rigid enough to control the probabilities.
Yes.
Okay, so I have my dialed-in markdown snippet.
You're feeling good.
I'm feeling great. I paste it in, I run the prompt, the model generates an awesome draft for my newsletter. At this point, it is very, very tempting to declare victory.
Oh, absolutely.
I would assume the system is solved, and I can just use this exact snippet for everything.
And that assumption is the fastest way to break the entire system.
Really?
Yes. A voice snippet is only viable if it survives contact with different format pressures.
Format pressures, okay.
Which leads us to the crucial phase of stress testing and platform modulation.
Why do different formats matter if the snippet is identical? I mean, if I use my winning newsletter snippet and ask the AI to write a short video script instead, shouldn't the core voice remain exactly the same?
It should, in theory. But the training data exerts tremendous pressure on the output.
How so?
In the LLM's vast vector space, a newsletter intro is clustered around certain syntactic patterns, usually conversational, slightly longer form, trust-building text.
Sure.
But a short video script is clustered around entirely different patterns: high-energy hooks, fast pacing, and spoken word transitions.
Oh, I see. So the model is constantly trying to balance the rules of your custom snippet against its deeply ingrained assumptions about what a video script is supposed to sound like.
Exactly. And if your snippet isn't mathematically dominant enough, the inherent format bias will overpower your voice rules, and your voice will drift.
It'll just revert.
Yeah, it might suddenly sound hyper-energetic and aggressive because that's what the AI thinks a TikTok script inherently requires.
Wow.
This is why the source material mandates that you must test your new snippet across 3 distinct formats immediately.
3 formats at once. For example, what? A LinkedIn authority post, a welcome email, and a 60-second video script.
Yes, exactly those 3. You run the exact same snippet with the exact same source idea across all 3 formats.
Okay.
Then you run a diagnostic review. Does the LinkedIn post sound like you, or does it sound like a generic thought leader? Does the email feel intimate, or does it feel like a corporate memo?
And if the video strip fails and sounds like a cheesy game show host, do we scrap the whole snippet and start over?
No, no. That is the beauty of a modular system.
Yeah.
You diagnose the specific failure vector.
Okay.
If the video script sounds too hyped, you realize your snippet lacks a boundary rule regarding enthusiasm.
Ah, so you just patch it.
Exactly. You add a single contrast pair to your snippet. Don't. Use high-energy, performative hooks or exclamations. Do. Open with a calm, declarative observation.
And you update the snippet once, and the entire system becomes permanently more robust.
Yes.
This really highlights the need for the platform modulation map, though, because while we want consistency, we don't want the exact same syntax everywhere. I mean, I don't want my video script to read exactly like my long-form email.
Right. Voice consistency does not equate to identical repetition.
The module highlights twin dangers here, right? Over-standardizing versus over-asking.
Let's break those down. Overstandardizing is when you copy-paste the exact same punchy single-sentence paragraph structure across every single medium.
Oh, I've seen brands do this.
As the text notes, it makes everything feel like it escaped from the same paragraph.
It's exhausting to read.
It really is. And the inverse of that is over-adapting.
What does that look like?
This is where the brand develops a split personality trying to appease platform algorithms.
Oh, yeah.
They are a stoic, serious B2B entity on email, but then on short-form video, they are suddenly bubbly, using trending audio syntax and internet slang.
Right. The brand becomes completely unrecognizable.
Exactly.
So how does the platform modulation map thread that needle? How do we keep the core voice but adjust for the room?
Think of it like acoustic treatment in a room.
Okay.
You are the exact same speaker with the exact same brain and the same vocabulary, whether you are giving a keynote address in a massive auditorium or having a quiet coffee with a peer.
Sure.
Your core identity doesn't change, but you intuitively modulate your volume, your pacing, and your level of formality based on the acoustics of the room.
That makes total sense.
The platform modulation map gives the AI explicit instructions on how to adjust the acoustics for each platform while maintaining those core identity rules.
So for a LinkedIn authority post, the map tells the AI, acoustics. Keep the authority sharp, rely heavily on the defined proof style, and use tighter hook-driven opening sentences.
Exactly.
But then for a private community forum post, the map adjusts the acoustics. Lower the friction, drop the structural polish, use highly conversational syntax, and end with an open-ended question to prompt participation.
Precisely. It modifies the tactical execution like the CTA style or the pacing without ever violating the core language bank or the do-don't guide.
Man, this level of control is incredible. But here is where we hit the operational reality check.
Okay, wait on me.
You can map all of this out. You can build the ultimate snippet and the perfect modulation map. But if this system just lives in a forgotten Notion page or a stray Google Doc gathering digital dust, it is completely useless.
100%.
It has to become an automated habit.
Information without operationalization is just trivia.
I love that.
The final phase of this framework is making it repeatable. We have to establish the SOP and utilize the tool belt.
The voice consistency SOP, the standard operating procedure.
Yes. The SOP is the mechanism that turns the conceptual architecture we just built into a repeatable, frictionless daily workflow for drafting, reviewing, and iterating AI output.
Because, as the source text warns us, future you will be deeply annoyed if your language bank is sitting in a Google Doc.
Yep.
Your beautifully crafted markdown snippet is lost in a random GPT thread from 3 weeks ago.
That's the worst.
And your platform modulation map is a screenshot saved on your desktop as image452.jpg.
We've all been there. And when that fragmentation happens, friction takes over.
You just give up.
You're on a deadline, you can't find your snippet, so you surrender. You open a fresh chat, type "make it sound professional," and accept the generic internet paste.
Because it's fast.
Exactly. The SOP prevents that regression. It consolidates the voice job statement, the brand stack, the language bank, the snippet, the modulation map, and a strict review checklist into one centralized command center.
What does that workflow actually look like for the operator on a Tuesday morning?
It is a rigid sequence. Step 1, confirm the audience and platform.
Okay.
Step 2, retrieve the exact markdown snippet and the correct platform modulation rules.
Paste them in.
Step 3, inject the constraints and generate the draft. Step 4, run the output through the review checklist to scan for hallucinated proof or blacklisted vocabulary.
Make sure it didn't use the word delve.
Exactly. And step 5, revise. It turns the nebulous goal of voice consistency into a mechanical checklist.
Now, inside the specific module, the text introduces a tool belt containing 5 custom GPTs engineered to accelerate this SOP.
Yes, the tools are great.
We need to look at these because while I am generally skeptical of relying too heavily on tools, these specific GPTs solve a massive friction point in the analysis phase.
They really do. They are highly specialized extraction engines.
What's the first one?
The first is Brand Strategist Pro, which is designed to help you articulate your broader positioning and strategic direction before you even start mapping words.
Okay, so laying the foundation.
Yeah.
Got it.
Then you have Brand Describer. This tool takes your high-level brand DNA and automatically structures it into the LLM-ready brand voice stack and the Do-Don't guide.
Oh, nice.
It literally formats the markdown for you.
But what if I don't have a massive corporate brand? What if the brand is just me, a solo operator?
That is where the third tool, Self-Describer, becomes incredibly valuable. The GPT is specifically engineered to analyze those messy, unstructured, raw voice samples we discussed earlier.
Okay, wait, explain mechanically how Self-Describer actually works. If I upload a 10-minute transcript of me ranting about a bad client experience, what exact parameters is the GPT looking at to extract my voice?
It's so cool. It doesn't just read for the topic, it runs a deep syntactic analysis.
Really?
Yeah. It measures your lexical diversity, meaning how broad your vocabulary is.
Wow.
It calculates your average sentence length and tracks your sentence variance. It isolates your transition habits, like do you use however, or do you just say, but look?
Oh, that's incredibly specific.
It identifies your idiomatic expressions and maps your emotional sentiment shifts. It mathematically profiles your communication habits and spits out the precise rules needed to replicate them.
That is genuinely powerful. It does the heavy lifting of turning my subconscious speech patterns into conscious prompt rules.
Exactly. Then the framework provides the execution tools. Voice Cloning Ghostwriter takes that captured voice profile and drafts content that aligns with your specific syntax.
Okay.
And finally, Authority Post Ghostwriter, which is specifically tuned to generate professional, platform-optimized content while strictly adhering to your voice boundaries.
Okay, those tools are remarkable accelerators. But I have to offer some strong friction here.
Go for it.
It is dangerously easy for people to hear a list of 5 shiny custom GPTs and think, great, the tools are the silver bullet. I just plug my transcript into Self-Describer and my brand voice is permanently solved.
You are absolutely right to push back on that. Believing the tool is the solution is a fundamental operational error.
The tools are just engines. Highly efficient engines, yes, but just engines. It's the real power, the architecture that actually guarantees you don't sound like that helpful airport kiosk, is the system governing them.
The rules you feed it.
Exactly. The voice job statement, the curated language bank, the strict do-don't boundaries, those are the fuel. If you feed poorly defined generic fuel into a high-performance GPT engine.
The engine will flawlessly generate high-performance garbage.
Right. The AI cannot invent your core identity. It can only codify and scale the identity you provide.
The GPTs exist to reduce the friction of formatting the rules. But the rules themselves, the actual soul of the brand, must be defined by you. The system is the asset, not the tool.
The system is the asset. I love that. So for the Prompt Lab member listening right now, we have covered a massive amount of architectural ground today.
We really have.
We deconstructed the trap of vague adjectives. We built the voice stack, learned to feed the model messy samples to build a language bank,
We established negative guardrails.
stress tested across platforms, and consolidated it all into an SOP. So how do they move from theory to execution today?
They execute by taking one highly specific, constrained action.
Here is the clear learner action directly from the module. I want everyone listening to commit to this right now.
Do it today.
Choose exactly one brand or founder voice right now. Do not attempt to map your overarching company brand, your personal Twitter account, and your podcast persona all simultaneously.
That's way too much. Just pick one.
Choose one specific voice context. Complete page 1 of the provided worksheet and clearly identify the single biggest AI voice failure pattern you are currently experiencing before you write another prompt.
Yes.
Is your output too academic, too aggressively salesy? Name the specific failure vector.
Because you cannot build a boundary system until you explicitly name the failure pattern you are trying to enclose.
Naming the failure is step 1. We have built the complete framework to escape the generic internet paste. But as we close out this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with a final perspective shift to mull over regarding how this system lives and breathes over time.
It connects directly back to your point about the system being the true asset.
Yeah.
A deeply calibrated brand voice system is not a static museum exhibit. Your voice consistency SOP is not a PDF you finalize once and rigidly enforce forever.
Mm.
It is a living, breathing feedback loop.
Because the model will always eventually try to drift.
It absolutely will. Every single time the AI slightly misses the mark, every time it tries to sneak the word seamless into a draft or hallucinates a metric,
You don't just manually delete the error and move on.
no, you capture that specific failure pattern. You extract the offending token, you update the don't rules in your centralized SOP, and you make the entire architectural system permanently smarter and more resilient.
So the system actually learns from its own friction.
Precisely. So the final call to explore as you build this is, how rapidly will your brand identity evolve and solidify when your AI stops degrading your voice and instead becomes the rigid system that actively protects it?
Wow, I love that framing. When the AI stops flattening you and starts reinforcing your unique edges. Because if you build this architecture correctly, you never have to sound like a helpful, soulless airport kiosk ever again.
Never again.
You can scale your output and still actually sound exactly like you.